a map that is going to inspire me. So while, you know, Seasons Light isn't the greatest thing, it is, however, one less thing I'm waiting for a mod to come out. And I know that people, you know, we've seen it this time around with the sort of the enhanced grass mod. We see people are bringing out the things that Giants missed from the old seasons. You can still get, I think someone produced GPS, but I know some people get a little bit demoralized when Giants do a thing. Back on Farm Sim 17, I used a lot of class equipment that was produced by Smetty. They were really, really nice tractors. And he did the 800 and 900. I'm not sure he did the smaller two, but I ran a 900 on Lawfolds. Because of the hills, I just needed that horsepower. I didn't need, the rest of it. My equipment was still small, but I did need the horsepower for hauling small pieces of equipment up and down hills. Really nice tractor. And then Farm Sim 19 came out, and he started to do re-release the class tractors for that. And then Giants announced that their big Farm Sim show was going to be at the class facility in Germany, and it's like, oh, they're going to be producing class tractors. And they bought out the expansion pack, which not only included all the class tractors, it included mowers and windrowers and balers and all the things. So at that point, Smeddy was, he gave the impression he was a little bit disappointed that now I'm going to have to find something else to do because Giants have produced the all the class equipment. It turned out I don't think it was that bad. Smetty still produces some class tractors, but he's basing them on his in enhanced versions of his old 2017 class equipment, because his tractors were 2012 to 2016 models, and Giants models are 2025 models. So he's producing an earlier model year, and people will use his tractors for that. But in the meanwhile, at least for Farm Sim 19, he stopped producing class equipment, and he started producing Fendt Favorites and a couple of other old, I can't remember, but I might have one loaded. Tractors. Do I have... I don't have a lot of mod tractors on this series. I don't have any of his. But he does a really nice Fendt Favorite 900, which is a large frame, 180 horsepower, and it'll take front loader equipment. It's a great tractor for forestry because you can pick up the logs, and it's the frame is so heavy and solid that it's like the tractor's not going anywhere. Yeah, there is that. And that, I don't think Giants would introduce that, but I think sometimes some people do. I can't remember it. I don't think I've seen sawdust or wood chips as a bedding, or the ability to... Okay, what am I looking for here? August, I'm not doing anything in August. What I need to look for is cows have food, cows have straw. Oh, we have a full tank of milk there. We also have 2 tanks of slurry there. 1 tank of slurry. I should do some transfer of slurry. The milk, I'm going to leave that to go a little bit. We've got a 30,000 tank, so I don't need that. I could transfer some methane though. Okay, so we are going to do slurry. I did manure last month, or a couple of during the course of this week. So I between the 2 locations, I have a truckload of manure. But for now, let's go find the truck. No, that's all right. There's a lot of squirrels out there. But yeah, and that's, I've said it before. I mean, it's one of the things I liked about Train Sim Classic was the game got enhanced graphics, sounds, 16-bit to 32-bit to 64-bit, and so, but it never invalidated the mods. So all of the trains and routes that I bought in 2012 still work on Train Sim Classic 2026. That button. And I like that about Train Sim Classic. And they give out the update free every year. You just get an update to Train Sim Classic programming, and you'll get a couple of routes that they'll charge you for. But anybody who owns a version of Train Sim Classic, the game is still getting updated, less so today than it used to. And I liked that about Train Sim Classic, that all of the DLC I've ever bought is still, will still work on it. Farming Simulator, the DLC I bought in 2017, or for Farm Sim 17, does not work on 19 or 21. So that kind of annoyed me. And the same is true with mods. I could download mods from some of the mod sites for Train Sim Classic, and they work. Or they don't work, but they work. Then there's no re-downloading them when the game receives an update, because the game is always back compatible with the previous versions. Now, obviously, some of the maps that came out in 2012 compared to maps that come out in 2026, you can see a difference. But that's because and the game supports much better graphics these days, but it'll still run the older maps with the not quite so pristine graphics on them. But yeah, Farming Simulator, the problem is when the new version comes out, you're playing vanilla for 2, 3, 4 months before some of the mods come in. So I think in Farm Sim 17 I did use autoload quite a lot, and okay, but towards the end it was like, I need to practice my front loader arm stacking bale skills, which when I started playing Farm Sim 17 I got fairly good at, but once autoload came along, it's like, yes, I'm not using that anymore, or I'm not using I'm not stacking my own bales. But like I said, the new version of FarmSim 19 comes out, and I now have to load the bales manually. So frequently what I end up doing is towards the, we're playing FarmSim 25. So when if they announce FarmSim 28, I am going to start stacking things manually, because auto load will not be available when FarmSim 28 comes out. I am much the same. I don't need better graphics, I don't need better sound. I appreciate better graphics and better sound. Play Train Sim Classic these days, and the sound is really good and the graphics are really good. But to be honest, I don't really care if I was playing on a 2012 map or route, because it's the content of the route, not the how it looks and how it sounds. But I appreciate, when here today, playing Farming Simulator, when I take a tipper, the tailgate slamming against the frame sounds really, really good. Now, it doesn't make the game play better, but it sure as heck, you sit there, you listen to it, and you say, that sounds good. It gives me more immersion. So, it's like, I appreciate you're putting the time into it, but it doesn't make the game better. You need the playability before you start working on the pretty things that come as extras. I get a car, I want 4 wheels and an engine and a steering wheel, and it to get me from point A to point B without breaking down. Now you want to add a heads-up display, GPS, a reversing camera, and everything else. It's nice, but it doesn't change the reason I want the car, which is to get from point A to point B. So, loot that a bit. I think we're fine. Hear me? I think we're fine. We are fine. So yeah, it's I look for games with gameplay. So something like Railroader is a good game. It's a fun game to play. Is it realistic? Not so much, but the fun elements are there, as opposed to it's got amazing realistic world graphics and everything else. I mean, heck, I'll even play a cartoon game sometimes if the underlying game is fun to play. So I do like, I like the, I mean, look at that sky. It's so much better than FarmSim 17 skies used to be, but that's fine. And we got the clouds rolling across, or the shadows of the clouds rolling across the fields. I appreciate it. It doesn't make the game better to play. Playability, number one. But conversely, a game with good a game with good gameplay but lousy graphics can detract. I mean, you have to make an effort, even if you don't need picture, photo quality visuals. and yeah, it's picking your style. I mean, I've got Ground of Aces, which is a World War II airfield builder that keeps getting bombed by the Germans, but you know, it's a fun game, and the graphics are very cartoony. But that doesn't matter. You don't play it for the realistic graphics. You play it for the graphics. You play it for the gameplay, and the graphics mustn't detract from the gameplay. I mean, if it was an old Apple II, wagon train type game with black and white pixels, yeah, probably wouldn't play it. At least put some colour to it and make the sprites a little bit less blocky. But yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem with it is. It's just make it playable. You have to fix the bugs. Oh, and one of the games I've got is I used to play Fantasy General, which was an old DOS game, kind of like the old war game, tabletop war games. It's a hex base rather than being. I did not play Zork. So you got things like Panzer General and all the other general games. Fantasy General was basically Panzer General, but you didn't have tanks and World War II troops. You have orcs and men-at-arms and bowmen and cavalry and dragons and all sorts of things like that. So still a Fantasy General, but in a different era. And they brought out Fantasy General 2, which is again a hex-based map with at least they're not sort of the essence of a cardboard counter with a picture on it. They're kind of like a group of archers or a group of men with long spiky sticks. It's a fun game. It's the gameplay, it's not the fact that it's hex-based or whatever. But yeah, no, I didn't play Zork. I did not play many role-playing games on computer. And the reason is because I played role-playing games around a table with lots of snacks and sodas, and we would while away our Saturday evenings playing a game, find a monster, kill a monster, steal a monster's treasure, rinse and repeat, or whatever. But role-playing, we would have run-ins with the town guard, we would have complicated traps and tricks in dungeons, and computer role-playing games weren't that. The thing is when you're playing with a human game master and human players, you come across a problem and you sit down and you work it out. And you pull your equipment and say, okay, how can we get around this? Or the wizard pulls his spells and says, how can I do this? Or stuff like that. But you're looking at the problem and finding a solution. In a computer game, the solution has already been provided to you. You just have to figure out what you need. And the problem is if you didn't pick up the axe in room 1, that you needed to kill the dwarf in room 5 in a computer game, you just failed. And so I found computer games to be incredibly limiting. Now these days they're a little bit more AI, so they work a little bit better, but the essence is walk up to a person, get a quest, go and kill 20 rabbits, go out into a field, kill 20 rabbits, collect their pelts, bring them back, get paid. They're not very complicated. And yeah, that's and a friend of mine, when he got his first home PC, he also got X-Wing. And X-Wing was amazing. Okay, the graphics weren't amazing. The sound through stereo speakers was next level. I mean, we were sitting there in our X-Wing cockpit, and he's flying through space, and the TIE fighter whizzes by, and you duck, because, woo, that was close. And the sound was brilliant. The graphics were limited by the technology, and also the missions he figured out were limited by the technology. There was no AI. Each mission had a programmed event that basically you had to stop. So if you had to kill or if you had to make sure that your 4 shuttles survived, you had to figure out which TIE fighter was programmed to kill each of the shuttles and in what order. And he eventually figured out, okay, the first shuttle to die is Shuttle 3 and it's killed by TIE Fighter 2. So the first thing I have to kill is TIE Fighter 2. It doesn't matter if I completely ignore TIE Fighters 1 and 3. They're going to damage me if they're shooting at me. If I'm good enough, they're not going to kill me. But TIE Fighter 2 must die first, or I lose Shuttle 3 and then I lose the mission. And then, okay, now, having figured that out, what kills Shuttle, what's the next shuttle to die? Oh, Shuttle 4 is the next one to die. Okay, what kills that? TIE Interceptor 1. Okay, so TIE Fighter 2, TIE Interceptor 1, and he figured out what the kill rate was, what the kill order was. And sure, he'd kill TIE Fighter 1 if he had the opportunity, but TIE Fighter 1 wasn't going to make him fail the mission. He targeted all of the enemy units that caused the mission to fail if they were still alive at a certain time. And it was basically if TIE Fighter 2 is alive 2 minutes in, it is going to destroy Shuttle 3 or whatever. And so he knew you had 2 minutes to kill that one, and if you did, now you can turn your mind to anything else until the interceptors turn. When the interceptors turn up, you must kill one within 2 minutes, or you're going to lose a shuttle. You know which shuttle you're going to. And he, we're both computer programmers. He just looked at it as, this was written by a computer programmer, and there is no AI back in 1985 or 87 or whatever it was. So it's all hard coded in the game file. All you have to do is figure out what to kill and when to kill it, and you were good. You were good. Now these days, no. You have to kill everything, because anything can take out anything. It just depends who gets into which position, what random numbers are thrown or rolled in order to get a thing to happen. Okay, what was I just doing this stuff? I've completely forgotten what I'm doing. So we transferred the slurry. We got 6 there. We've got milk. We've got 24. That's in the mid-sized barn. The large barn, we have 34 milk, that's 1 tank. Everything else is fine. And in the BGA, oh, I've got a tank of methane. I'll do the methane when we get to transferring milk. So, how's our lime doing? Our lime's doing fine. I think, engine's off, no, turn off the engine. Oop. We can do another sleep. Did I look at what's for sale at the store? Oh, we got a Zunhammer 15, yeah, tiny slurry tank. Not worried about that. So we don't need to do anything today. So we move on to August. And I think there's nothing to do in August. September is when we plant the barley. I will recheck that. August, I've got to spray the grass field, so we'll do that next. There's some stuff for sale. So, ooh, lots of stuff. So, what is that? That is a potato planter. Oh, well, there you go. There's one of those. There's a carrot harvester. Valtra S. Not doing Valtras on an American farm. I would use that if we were playing European farm, although that's a little bit hefty. That is a cedar, and that's a wood planter, tree planter. Okay, so nothing new there, and I need to go spray grass. Alrighty. Okay, where should we go? Oh, we don't actually have a lot of liquid fertilizer here. Because it's over there. We'll carry it out by hand. It's in packets and bottles, so just a couple of walks backwards and forwards, and we'll get that filled up. All right, now